Eric Church, but right now it's time for Good Policies with Mike Barrett from Barrett Insurance Agency. Good morning, Mike. Now, being the strain of COVID financially, some people may be having to do some extreme changes. From your perspective, from Barrett Insurance Agency, would it be recommended to sell my car for maybe a smaller, cheaper one, reduce coverage, make my deductible more, maybe winterize or sell one of my cars if I have more than one?
Well, I guess I'm asking now why I'm here. You just gave me all the reasons that you could save some money. Here is my recommendation. Do what is appropriate, but don't put yourself in financial harm's way. And what I mean by that is, do what you can to save money, but don't make such dramatic changes to your coverage, and I'm talking home, auto, and everything in between, that you could expose yourself to a loss that could really change and alter your life significantly. If you're lowering liability and, God forbid, you get into a pretty significant accident and then find out that the liability limit that you ended up choosing was not enough, and now they're going after you personally. Or maybe you have a car that you own, but it's still a $10,000 car or more, and you decide to take collision coverage off, and then you go out and run into a tree, try to avoid a moose or a deer, and total your car. Now you're out $10,000. So don't put yourself in financial harm's way.
I tell you what, I would take that moose for all he was worth.
Well, I hate to say it, but you know from your background, and honestly from what I deal with every day, when you are given the decision to hit the animal in the road or swerve to hit possibly anything else, from a safety standpoint, it's most likely going to be the better choice to do sadly, for the animal, to hit the animal.
Right.
But, as you start looking at how insurance works, and this is kind of I always feel bad talking about this because I'm an animal lover myself, but, if your choice is to hit the animal or swerve and hit something else, if you swerve and hit something else, that's a collision loss, which is also going to be an at-fault accident, which is going to, most typically, people have a higher deductible for collision, so you've got a higher deductible there. You're also going to get charged for having an at-fault accident with most companies, unless you've been with them for a number of years. Whereas if you hit the animal, it's a not at-fault accident because it falls under comprehensive, which typically has a lower deductible. So, it doesn't look good for the animals out there, but, from a safety standpoint, your background indicates that is also the better option.
You had just also said the deductible. Does it make sense to make your deductible more and save money in the time being, or not?
Yeah, yes and no. If you are one, and there are people out there who may carry $0 deductibles for comprehensive, a $100 deductible. A $0 deductible means that any loss due to comprehensive is first dollar payment from the company. So if you have a $1,000 loss, you're getting a $1,000 check. Whereas if you have a deductible, let's say it's a $100 deductible, if it's a $1,000 loss, you're getting a $900 check from the company because you have a $100 deductible stating that first $100 is coming out of you.
Now, what is the difference in your monthly rate if a deductible is $100 or $1,000?
Right. It can really be pretty dramatic for some people. It depends on so many different factors, like your class, such we were talking about earlier. Your age, your marital status could be a role. How far you drive to work, what the value of the vehicle is. There's a million and one options, so there's never going to be one specific percentage of change necessarily. But let me give you this as an example. When you carry the lowest deductible available, you are eradicating the ability for any credit for carrying a deductible. So if you are at a $0 or a $100 deductible, which some companies, that is their lowest comprehensive deductible, and you go to $500, you can see probably $100 or more savings or more. With collision always costs more money to have because collision losses typically are the more expensive ones to settle. If you have a $200 to $50 deductible and go to a $1,000 deductible, you could probably see a couple $100 savings. You always, again, we're trying to stay away from putting yourself in financial harm's way. But if you have a little bit of a nest egg that you'd rather keep and not be paying in, sure, increase your deductibles, realizing that if something does happen, you're exposed for a little more out of pocket.
Well, if you'd like to find out if your insurance policy has you covered at the right deductible, it's up to date on things like if you got married, or you just have questions about your policy versus what Barrett can do for you, you can call Mike Barrett of Barrett Insurance Agency in St. Johnsbury by calling
748-5224. And for the next couple of days, not so easy necessarily to get to us with the work being done on the bridge, the Memorial Bridge, the Portland Street Bridge, so the detours do kind of push you around, but you can get to us at 309 Portland Street in St. Jay. You can also find us online for a free home and auto quote, thebarrettagency.com. Google, Facebook, and YouTube is all Barrett Insurance Agency.
Have a great day, my friend.
You as well. Stay good.
Bye-bye.